So here we are in the backyard. Sunday afternoon, Labor Day weekend. I need to make that a rain garden. That should be one of my projects. It's been on the list forever. So here's my little smoking spot. A little sheaf stout. Nice. How do they import that for like $3.99 a bottle from Australia? I don't know. I like it though. Swiss Army knife. Everybody should have a little knife. That's the Scout model. That's a brand new one because I lost the other one on the fire. We were at night up in the thick of it and sat down, took a rest, and seems to me little float plane up there. I think I was cutting an apple, something like that. That's the last I remember using it. So I must have not put it back in my pocket very well, and so it's still up there somewhere. To be found by archaeologists centuries from now. Anyway, this is my smoking spot usually. Here's the yard, there's a motorcycle shed. Just a quiet day. Good day to have a smoke, actually. So it's been a few days, a week, since I smoked. Something like that. Smoking, I don't know what. It's obviously non-aromatic. Not real heavy on the Latakia. It was in a cube, literally a cube, in a little plastic baggie, totally unmarked. Sadly, I have a lot of those. It's like, here, try this. Okay, yeah, it sounds good. But I don't mark it, because I don't carry a magic marker with me. I don't know what it is. It's good. I'm thinking maybe Doug Owen from Cargo Hold gave it to me. Seems about right. Because it was a cake, compressed, dark, broke up pretty easy, not real wet. It's good. It's it's one of those many tobaccos that fall into about the 85 to 91 numerical ranking, which is like, it's good, but it's not great. So to me, a lot of tobacco falls into that category. Very few. There are a few that are, sorry, the beer. This is good stuff. I like this. I like dark beer, though. There's a few that are bitter or burn your tongue, a little tongue bite there, or have no flavor, or, they rank low. But there's a lot of good tobacco out there. Great tobacco? That's harder to find, I think. So what makes a great tobacco? For me, well, it's burnability. How well does it stay lit and burn evenly and so forth? That's a factor. But for me, it's flavor. My flavor. I don't care about the room, though, usually. If I do, I'll smoke a mild aromatic, maybe a maple or something like that maybe has a high quality base, so it has at least a little flavor for me. Most aromatics just have no flavor. But everybody says, ooh, reminds me of my grandpa. Okay, fair enough. some flavor there, some baritone notes, some mid kind of creamy notes. I am on the kind of far out flight path to SeaTac. So there is, and I mean, this whole place, Puget Sound, is just airliner central. So it's a cool thing if you like planes, which there's always something flying by. Lots of float planes. The FedEx Cessna Caravan to Port Angeles every day. Horizon flights to Port Angeles and Victoria all fly overhead. So it's cool. I like it. I have some friends who live closer to the airport. It's annoying because, you know, they live close enough that right under the flight path to the south that you have to stop your conversation when, you know, the Korean Air 747 is like full power takeoff. It's pretty loud. But still, it's cool if you like airliners and airplanes. So, yeah, there's kind of, I like kind of a creamy, caramelly mouth feel. You know, I don't want to get too like wine connoisseur thing, but although I admire people who do, you know, with tobacco, it's like, oh, the nutty sense of hazelnuts and roasted almonds mixed with the deep Java coffee. You know, it's like, oh, cool. If you can determine that, that's great. I just never have. I think we all can do it, you know, if we kind of focused on that. But since I don't even know what I'm smoking, it's all right. So I did smoke a pipe on this last fire, which was much shorter than I thought. I'd packed 2 weeks of clothes, you know, t-shirts, underwear, socks. Your pants pretty much stay the same. Nomex, green pants and yellow shirt. And I was there for like 4 days. And then it, you know, cooled down, started raining, and this is still part of that pattern. So I may not go out again, who knows? We'll see. I mean, it'd be a good thing if I didn't. It means there aren't these big wildland fires going on. But it was funny on this particular tour, if you will, this fire. It was I was the engineer on a structural engine, on a fire engine, which is a different role for me. I'm usually kind of operating semi-independently as a water tender, water supply, which I like. I have adopted that role, and I like it. But they needed somebody that engine had been there for 2 weeks already. The crew was switching out, mandatory switch out. And they needed somebody to run the pump and drive the rig, so sure, why not? But it does, it's a different feel in that it is much more part of the crew. You know, you're an integral part of the crew of that engine, and we had 4 on the engine. So it's two engines, 2 brush trucks, a tender, and a command rig. It was our little strike team. So we actually did not do that much. We were there more just in case, and to reassure the public that, you know, there were forces there that would work to protect them and their property. So it's all good. But it wasn't really that exciting a tour. and it was night shift. So, so that kind of screws you up diurnally, you know. They did have sleeping trailers, so we didn't have to sleep out in 100-degree heat in a tent. That was good. It's all different. Everyone is different and fun. You know, the fire camp was winding down where it was over at Chelan, and boy, it had been a big fire camp before that. And fire camp is just such a fascinating environment. You know, all kinds of different people there having a role. You know, they're good at what they do. They're dedicated. They're professional. They're usually alpha dog, you know, so that's interesting too. So fire guys are often alpha dog type people. Almost need to be. I am in my own way, but less so, I think, than a lot of them. So. That is so good. Dark, creamy, chocolatey, caramelly. So, and this is a Peterson Handmade I got a long time ago. Great grain. I don't know if you can see that. Nice saddle bit, not a peelet. So a fishtail by their jargon. So anyway, you know, I always take a pipe and a little tobacco, pipe or two. Often I don't have a chance to smoke, but this time I did. So I pulled out the pipe, and you know, it's like 2 in the morning. And dark, and you know, we're all out there, and it was really funny. A couple of the younger guys were just like, "Are you kidding me? That blows my mind that anybody still smokes a pipe." It was like, I mean, they were like just flipping out. You know, it was just like, I can't believe it. It was cool. I mean, they were positive, but it was just such a reaction. It was like, really? Yeah. You know, there's a little Kids Out Pipe Club. I said, what? That's crazy. I never knew that. So anyways, I mean, we are all pipe ambassadors every time we smoke. So. But you know, it occurred to me hard on this particular fire. I think because I was playing a different role, I was in a different relationship to the team. I was just like right in there versus a little bit more on the outside in a support role. And I know the women will agree with me when I say men are pretty much stuck in 3rd grade. And that's not to be negative about it. It's just observational. It's like, given a chance, men will devolve into playing Army in the 3rd grade. At least the guys I was with. It was striking, actually. And that's more fire guys, maybe, too, than the general public. But yeah, a sense of, you know, remember how in 3rd grade it was like all about being on the right team, and conforming. You know, it seems to me that the big role that men are taught in this culture is to conform. And yeah, it's very unexamined. But yeah, I think we're really, really at every turn, from the media, everybody, to conform. And as pipe smokers, I think we are willing to be a little less conformist in some ways, just by smoking a pipe. Witness their reaction, you know, it's like, oh, wow, you know. And myself, you know, you know, why do you smoke a pipe? Is it the look of it? Is it the variety of tobacco? Is it the pipes themselves? I mean, I'm sure it's all those things, really, you know, if you really were to examine it. And that's where sitting around smoking a pipe is awesome and slightly dangerous, because you can think about these things. So, like, my sense of personal style is kind of in the 1950s, working class dad kind of thing, you know. I mean, I get it, I understand that. It's what I'm kind of drawn to, you know. It's not steampunk, it's not in any way hip or current. It's comfort, it's loose, you know. But you really realize, number one, how while that isn't different or scary or deviant or anything, it when you're in the third grade, the merest difference is huge, you know. And so I was pretty well aware of that I'm a little different, you know, and that's fine. That's fine. I'm good with that. I wouldn't have it any other way, actually, you know. I mean, you got to be who you are. Since sitting here smoking, talking, philosophizing, I think a lot of people are really, really afraid of being different. They're afraid of being seen as different. Not being different, actually, but just the idea that they will be judged harshly on being different. I think that is, and perhaps that's the social control that we as men in Western society are brought up with, perhaps. I mean, if your folks were bohemians and were quite nonconformist themselves, I think you have a greater sense of latitude in what's acceptable. But you're probably really aware of the differences too, you know. So, anyway, I'm just sitting here thinking about it. It's not a bad thing. I mean, it just exists. It just is. And as usual, how we feel about it is entirely in our heads. And yet, you know, sometimes it feels like, oh, well, they're all judging me. Well, yeah, it's in your head. Can accept it or not. There are people who just like are totally themselves no matter what, you know, and it's like, oh, that's brave. And a lot of times people can't help but be different because they look different, you know. And of course that's where we could launch into a racial discussion or you know, a disabilities discussion or something like that, and having that input in the conversation would be awesome. But anyway, just some thoughts towards the end of this bowl. Aided and abetted by a little bit of sheep stout. Not much. I'm such a lightweight drinker that I'll nurse this bottle all day. And 2 beers and I'm a happy drunk. So I just never drink. I never did drink much when I was growing up. My folks, true to their 1960s suburban, 60s, early 70s suburban upper middle class lifestyle, you know, they had a bar in the house, and like most, all their friends did too, you know, and Friday night, Saturday night involved drinking. There was a little too much drinking maybe in parts of my family, but maybe that's an occupational hazard with the upper middle class. Anyway, I felt like I was in the 3rd grade playing Army. And I've always been okay with that. I mean, I could do it pretty successfully. Didn't have my heart totally in it. But, you know, if that's the game that's being played, I'll play it. So, and it was notable. It was just that kind of afternoon, I guess. Gray day. Upper 50s, maybe the low 60s. So, just cool enough to have a t-shirt on. I was out raking the yard, so I got kind of lathered up and thought, well, I'll just take a little break and have a smoke.